In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this modern little plant stand and how I got it to get this nice, subtle triangular shape by adding a 5-degree angle to the cross braces. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to rough out my materials. So I'm going to cut them to probably about 1 inch longer than their final dimensions. Just makes it easier for cutting things down, and also if you make any mistakes, you have a little room for leeway. So I'm going to take everything over to the table saw, set my fence to 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to rip all of my pieces down. One thing that I did not show in here, I couldn't find the clip, so I must not have recorded it, is I didn't show cutting the cross braces. So I'm going to be cutting the cross braces to about 9 inches because it's going to be holding an 8-inch pot, and I like to just have it a little bit wider than that. So here you can see I set up a little stop on my fence over there, and I'm cutting all of my leg pieces to the final length. Then what I'm going to do is set up another stop. I'm using this really cool little magnet switch right there, which I really like, and I'll link that below. And then on my miter gauge, I'm setting that to 5 degrees. Then I'm butting all my pieces up to that magnet and just cutting them all, and it gets them all cut to the same length. Now I'm going to use my taper jig to cut a taper at the very top of the stand. So what this does, since we have that 5-degree angle now, it makes that triangular shape. Cutting this out will make it so that way your plant or your pot will slide into the plant stand easily without it pinching at the top. Then here, like I said, I missed cutting these to 9 inches, and then I'm taking them over to my dado stack, and I'm cutting a 13/16 inch dado because the pieces of wood I'm using are 13/16 straight line. And now we're going to head back over to the table saw and use our little magnet stop again with our miter gauge set to 5 degrees. When you're doing the cross braces, you're going to make sure you want to do one cross brace with the half flap up when cutting your 5 degrees. And then here, the next one you'll see, we'll do with our half flap down and cut them both the same. Then here I'm going to use this little piece right here to make sure that I get my cross brace put in the same spot on all 4 of my legs. Then I'm going to take them over to my domino and my little domino stand and mortise out all of the tenons so that way I can join them. If you don't have a domino, don't worry, you can definitely use a dowel jig. I have another video making plant stands that shows how I use a dowel jig instead of the domino, and I will also link that down below. If you do have a domino and you are interested in this little domino stand, I will also link that. I made this one myself. It's kind of ugly, but there is someone who does make them and sells them for, I think, around $100. But they are definitely very convenient to have. And now we're just going to start the glue up process here. So I usually just only put glue in the domino holes. I put a little bit too much in that one, and there's usually a little bit of squeeze out, so I don't worry about putting any glue on the edge grain. So far it's been totally fine that way. As you can see, when you push your pieces together with the domino in there, you get some squeeze out, so just make sure you wipe off any excess that you have. And then here I'm using a little cutoff that has 5-degree angle on one side and a 90-degree angle on the other. This helps you get perfect clamping pressure. Then I'm using my reference piece again to make sure that my legs are still in the same spot. They did move a little bit, and I'm going to use my trusty vice grips hammer to get them back in the same place. And then I will repeat that process for the second set of legs. And one thing that you might notice in this video is I'm going back and forth between 2 different kinds of woods. So sometimes it's ash and sometimes it's red oak because I was making 2 of the same stand. Then once I had it all glued up and I could see it, I really did not like the distance from the cross braces to the top. So I cut those down, and it ended up being 6 inches from the cross brace to the top of the stand. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to round over all of the hard edges. I've really been digging the round over lately, and I think it just gives everything a nice little modern feel. So I made this little DIY router table, and it works pretty great. I'm using a 1/4 inch round over bit to round over all of my edges. Now that it's all rounded over, I'm going to sand everything up to 220. I usually just start at 150 and then go to 220. Things like this, it works great. And I'm going to be adding Walrus Oil's Furniture Butter. This is my favorite finish to use on anything that is staying natural wood and is not being stained. I also am an affiliate of Walrus Oil, so if you'd like to check out any of their products, make sure you use Gerber 10 at checkout for 10% off your purchase. Then I will countersink a screw hole on the bottom side of the plant stand just to lock that little half lap in place, just to give it a little extra security if you are going to be moving it around your house throughout the day. I know a lot of people do that for lighting purposes. And that is all there is to it. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you give this plant stand a try, make sure and tag me in it at Gerber Design Co. on all social media. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next build.